Hey, man, I'm curious. Halloween, just a couple days away. What are you planning on being for Halloween?
I had a really good idea. I was going to go as Ollie Gordon.
That's crazy.
What were you going to go?
Well, I'll be a running back that's even better.
Oh.
Cam Skattebo. Happy Tuesday and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. I am Anthony Totri, joined as always on these marvelous shows by the one, the only Jedi himself. That is Erik Ruby. If you're finding him on social, that is Erik with a K. We've got Captain Redbeard behind the Mac, steering the ship toward the buried treasure. Do we know what the buried treasure is yet?
Big 12 championship.
Big 12 title. There we go. Guys, do us out. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. If you're an Arizona State fan, I'm going to just tell you off the top, be here on Friday. That's all I'm going to say. Be here on Friday. We got some super fun stuff, a big announcement for everybody, so definitely stay tuned for that. On today's show, though, we're going to be talking about Sam Leavitt, QB1. Could he be back? You know the name, Sam Leavitt. You know that guy.
I do.
Could be back. We will talk about it. We're also going to hear from Mike Gundy, what he had to say about Arizona State running back Cam Skattebo and the team in year 2 under Kenny Dillingham. Also going to take a look at that matchup against the Arizona State offense going up against that Oklahoma State defense. So definitely buckle up, send the link to your bestest pal, and get ready because we've got 45 minutes to an hour of fun.
You know, it'd be a great tease. Hey, we're going to listen to Mike Gundy say something.
I guess
that's the
fair.
tease.
Mike Gundy talks about random stuff.
For those who don't remember, I will not say specifically what he said at Big 12 Media Day. But if you don't know and you don't remember what he said about Ollie Gordon and the things that Ollie Gordon had done,
Out of pocket stuff.
maybe go look.
Out of pocket.
Yeah, I would. Some of the most jaw-dropping sound bites I've ever heard.
Definitely some
You
stuff.
never know what Mike Gundy's gonna say. You never know what's gonna happen on PHNX Sun Devils, except for a wild good time.
That's fair. That's fair. BC in the chat. Go Sun Devils. Glenn with a dub. Will in the chat with a talk about it Tuesday again, guys. Do us a solid. Hit that like button. Subscribe to PHNX Sports if you haven't already. And drop a 5-star review.
Can I
wherever
say
you get your
something?
podcast. Go ahead.
Ever since I learned that William is your student, I don't know why.
This Will is not my student. The other Will is my student.
Oh,
Yeah. Good
okay,
try, though.
See, I thought you were talking about William Jasper.
No. Not Jasper. Not Jasper.
And I was like, for real?
Nah.
I was like, that doesn't make sense to me.
A different. Why wouldn't that make sense?
I don't know. It just didn't compute. Like 1 + 1 didn't equal 2 there. Something was fishy.
You got there.
Yeah, I got there.
Took you 24 hours. but
I'm
you
so
made it.
brain dead. I'm
It's okay.
so brain dead.
It's okay. Well, we're gonna plug in the chords. And
I need
we'll
you
be
to.
good go.
I need you to carry me.
It's fine. It's fine. It's what we do. It's what we do here on the PHNX Sun Devils show. And look, you need me to carry you, and Arizona State needs Sam Leavitt to be back in the lineup. We heard Monday from Kenny Dillingham that Sam Leavitt has been cleared to play for a couple weeks now. They opted to keep him out against Cincinnati, probably for his own good. He had the bye week to recover. Back practicing today. Ran with the ones, obviously taking some reps in the 11-on-11s, which is definitely a good sign for Arizona State, potentially getting QB1 back. I do want to just talk a little bit about Sam Leavitt's development and what his return would mean for this Sun Devil team in a game that I consider a must-win based off of the way the last couple of weeks have gone for Arizona State and really how things have transpired in the Big 12. So, Erik, for you, what do you think it would mean for Kenny Dillingham and this offense, a group that hasn't statistically been the best group in the Big 12, to get QB1 back and, get this team back in the win column?
Oh, it would mean so much to this team. So much to this team because you are sitting at a pretty interesting point in the season.
Yeah.
Right? You're coming off your second loss. You're on a bye week. And it's very clear that this team operates at the best level when Sam Leavitt's playing football. And when Sam Leavitt's playing good football, and the one thing about Sam Leavitt that you've seen is he's constantly gotten better. So not only would I assume that Sam Leavitt's back, let's say presumably he's fully healthy. BC says seems like an injury like that would require more time. I think that's an interesting way to look at it as well. But if Sam Leavitt's back, I'm expecting Sam Leavitt to continue his streak of improving. Yeah. And if this team continues to get improved quarterback play week after week as it hits the toughest stretch of the season, the most important stretch, a stretch that determines whether you are, just another team who might make a bowl game or somebody who's competing for the top of the Big 12, having QB1, having somebody with instincts like Sam Leavitt is something that can propel you past where you already expect them to be at this point, because you're already past the expectations you set 2 months ago. Yeah. So now you have your reset expectations. A healthy Sam Leavitt can unlock this team even past that.
I would say reset expectations sit at about 7-8 wins for this team. And I don't think this is a team that can get to 7 and 8 wins without their starting quarterback. And that's not a knock on the rest of the team. That's just based off of, we've seen this offense function really, really well with Sam Leavitt, not just because of his development, but because of what he does both in the passing game and on the ground game.
He's running back too.
He is.
And you're not getting Raleek for the rest of the season.
Exactly.
So running back two is pretty dang important.
If you missed it, Kenny Dillingham did announce after practice today that running back Raleek Brown is out for the season, still dealing with a hamstring injury that he's been dealing with all year, looking to medically redshirt Raleek Brown, obviously hoping that he will be back next season in a Sun Devil uniform.
So not trying to derail too much and talk about that, but just really quickly, I'm not happy that he's medically redshirted. I wanted to see him play, and you never like it when a guy's injured. However, I am excited that we're going to, hopefully see him another year and see him healthy. It just felt like he never got in a rhythm with the way this current roster is constructed. And so hopefully this means next year you get a more refined Raleek Brown, a healthy Raleek Brown. So that's something to look forward to, but we're not looking that far ahead.
No, we're not. Instead, we're actually going to look back.
Are we?
We're going to look back at what Sam Leavitt has done each game for Arizona State this season, because it's one thing to say QB1 and leave it at that, right? Sam Leavitt being QB1, but we're talking about a redshirt freshman quarterback transferring from Michigan State to Arizona State and what he has done so well over the last handful of weeks and couple months, and really how Sam Leavitt's return or potential return could impact the Sun Devils going up against a pretty poor Oklahoma State team. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what Sam Leavitt started this season with. Obviously, a big win for the Sun Devils against Wyoming. Sam Leavitt at that point completing 63.6% of his passes. The 305 yards and the yards you're going to see throughout this discussion are total yards. So combining what he was able to do in the air and on the ground, 305 total yards and 2 touchdowns, no turnovers in his opening debut for Arizona State. At that point, I think when it got to a level where Arizona State was just stomping Wyoming, you kind of tendered your expectations. You're like, okay, this is a really solid performance. The team as a whole did really, really well. I think that week 1 game, though, was more of just showing Arizona State fans that you don't have a traditional quarterback with Sam Leavitt. You've got a guy that can do it through the air and on the ground. But the thing I think a lot of people noticed most was the deep ball still wasn't there.
Yeah, the deep ball was something that we were all kind of focused on, especially because it seemed, but the last couple of big-time ASU quarterbacks to make their debut, highly touted quarterbacks, Rashada and Daniels, had a beautiful deep ball. That was their best attribute. Basically, was the fact that they could throw it downfield, or in some of them, their only attribute, that they could throw it down the field. And you didn't get that with Sam Leavitt at all, but you saw the potential. You saw a couple throws where he had the arm strength, he just didn't have the touch. And to be fair, we saw that throughout camp too. I mean, you're like, man, this kid's got an arm on him, but he needs to
hone it in a little bit.
Hone it all in and get that. So you see the promise, and you're like, if this is the ground floor, well, yes, this is a bad Wyoming team. At the time, we didn't realize just how bad they were, but they're a bad Wyoming team. You saw what he did in his first actual start at home. Lots of pressure on him. And not a game where Cam Skattebo had a crazy game. Lots of love in the running back room. Like, there was a ton of transfers on this team. There wasn't exactly like this sense of consistency with a Sam Leavitt as well.
No, it was just everybody was doing their job.
And he was able to come in and perform. I think that just shows baseline how talented he is, how he dissects the game, and how his natural physical abilities give him an edge that not a lot of quarterbacks do have. Again, this guy could probably play linebacker.
Yes.
Like this dude is built. And he's got good instincts on his head, and you saw that. And you saw the arm power, you saw the speed, you saw the instincts, and you got excited about, okay, now what's next?
Yeah. And what was next was Mississippi State. Mississippi State at that point was a little bit of a head scratcher. Obviously, the Sun Devils were able to get the job done, but if you're somebody that box score watches, then you definitely had some concerns after this one for Sam Leavitt. Completed just 50% of his passes, 137 total yards in that game, both on the ground and through the air, and then 2 touchdowns. The Sun Devils obviously able to hold off the Mississippi State comeback, but at the end of the day, I think there were definitely some concerns from what people saw from Sam Leavitt in that game. But I think after that, the conversation was more around Cam Skattebo.
Yes, that's the Cam Skattebo game. Yes.
And that was the game where Kenny post-game, or I believe the following Monday, was talking about we didn't let Sam get in a rhythm.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that we had seen in fall camp. It's something that we saw a little bit in spring ball too, was Sam can be really, really good when he gets in a rhythm. But if he's not able to find that rhythm early, then it can be a long day. The game against Mississippi State, yes, those aren't terrible, terrible numbers, and ASU got the win. But in terms of his development, it felt like you were probably going to get somewhere in between what you saw from Wyoming and that Mississippi State game. And at the end of the day, ASU was 2-0, so I don't think anybody really cared.
And that was the big thing that you take away from it, is Cam Skattebo did all the heavy liftings. Cam Skattebo did 300 basically all-purpose yards. I think it was 297.
Yeah.
Against an SEC team. And you look at Sam Leavitt and you go, you know what? You weren't fantastic. You weren't the best player on the field, but you didn't make mistakes and you weren't bad enough to cost us the game. And for, a redshirt freshman quarterback, you were able to lead in air quotes, lead this team to its first ever SEC win.
Yeah.
And again, your expectations are low for Sam Leavitt at this point. It's
after week 2.
It's don't lose us the game.
Yeah.
Right. And he didn't lose you the game. And you're like, okay, maybe not every game is Wyoming, but you still kept your head on straight. Kenny admitted, hey, maybe we didn't put him in the best spot. So I would say belief for Sam Leavitt is still extremely high.
Yeah.
After this game, it's just more of a, hey, is this something we're going to have to wait a while to see? And we're just seeing the building blocks right now. I think you start to have that thought creep in a little bit against Mississippi State, but nothing like, oh my gosh, we're only Cam Skattebo. Like, you still saw the foundation.
There were still moments. There were still moments. The defense was still doing what it was. But at that point, again, coming off of his worst game of 2 on a short week, going on the road for the first time this season against a really, really good Texas State team. This is what Sam Leavitt was able to do. Completed 63.3% of his passes, 286 total yards in that game. Again, that is on the ground and through the air. 2 touchdowns, had the 1 INT. Overall, though, I feel like from this game, you saw Sam Leavitt grow up a little bit.
Yes.
You saw him have to lead this team because Texas State did a really, really nice job slowing down Cam Skattebo in the ground game up until the final drive, really, when Scat was able to kind of just close it out with a first down. But ultimately, I think this was the game where you're like, you know what? I think Sam Leavitt is finally starting to lean into who he has to be an Arizona State starting caliber quarterback.
And I think you saw what Kenny said where, hey, we didn't do the best to get him in rhythm. I think they did a lot better of a job there. And you saw him connect on one of the deep balls to Jordan Tyson in this game.
Early in that game.
And that was something that you look back, and I think it was Jordan Tyson had 100 reception yards in the first half.
Receiver went over 100 this season.
And he did in the first half.
Yeah.
Right? So you saw a clear emphasis that we are going to let Sam Leavitt cook in this game. An important game. Texas State Super Bowl. In not an environment that's like the Lubbocks of the world, but still a good environment. Short week, like you mentioned, on the road against a team that had a lot of talent. I mean, Jordan McLeod, a quarterback in his 18th year playing college football. Like, one of the best backs in the nation, especially getting all-purpose yards. And of course, that's not who Sam Leavitt's playing against, but you're down. Like, you are down
21-7
on the road on a short week. And you step up. And there were a lot of big-time plays on both sides of the ball that are the reason why ASU was able to win that game. The interception and even the Cam had some big plays to put it away too, but you saw Sam Leavitt not panic. You saw him stay calm, not make massive mistakes. I know he had the interception, but obviously it wasn't that costly.
Yeah.
Right. And he had the interception. He's still able to bounce back. I mean, this, like you said, you saw Sam Leavitt grow up a bit. I think you just really got to look into the mind of his mental makeup.
Yeah.
Right. And first road game, and we've seen this team struggle on the road since then. One of those games without him, that means a lot.
Yeah.
That means a lot coming from somebody who was born in 2004.
Ew, that's gross.
2004.
So gross. I think after that Texas State game, everybody felt really, really confident with this team. 3-0. You had a little bit more of a stretch to get ready for Texas Tech. Granted, you were still on the road. You're opening Big 12 play. And that's where I think people got a little too overzealous when talking about Arizona State, or maybe again felt like a team that couldn't be stopped.
Yeah.
Right? I think internally, and again, this is just me taking a guess, is this team was riding really high. You were 3-0. Everybody picked you to finish dead last. You have extra days, which can also hurt you in terms of preparing for Texas Tech on the road. Texas Tech had been in some dogfights early on this season, allowing a ton of points. Arizona State, with that high confidence, shot themselves in the foot early on the road in a new conference. And Sam Leavitt completed 57.9% of his passes, 307 total yards. That is the most he's had in a game so far this season. Just one touchdown to one INT, an INT that came really, really early in that game against Texas Tech. And ultimately, Arizona State lost that game. But where do you feel like this game impacted Sam Leavitt's development to this point in the year?
I think it impacted it in a positive way. I don't think that.
Let's hear it. Senor Spin Zone.
Senor Spin Zone goes nuts. Obviously, this sucks that ASU lost. You don't want them to lose. You wish they're undefeated. They got in their own way. He made mistakes. There was a ton that you look at and you just say, man, it was right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes, which is actually something we expected this team to see a lot of this season, you have to go through some more mud to figure out who you really are, right? And to learn that you can go through it, that you can get through it. And the best part about losing to Texas Tech is that you took a bye week and you bounced back and you won. And we'll get to what he did in that game in a second. But to me, you proved, hey, man, you're human. You're not a god. You can get cut, man. You get cut, you bleed, just like everybody else. Because when you play like Sam Leavitt plays, which is, pedal to the metal. I don't care. I'm going to put my body on the line. I'm going to have massive amounts of confidence in my instincts and my coaches and the players around me. So I'm going to play without a second thought. That's awesome. But when you're that young, you need to learn from your mistakes. You need to make mistakes. And while we would all love to be undefeated and to have won that game, and I'm sure he would have as well, I'm sure that next week that you spent off, you spend it teaching Sam Leavitt and making him better. Because what did I say? He has seemed to consistently get better and bounce back from setbacks. And this was the really first major setback from a game perspective, because it's your first loss of the season, that he saw, and he was able to bounce back. That's the positive impact of a loss. Those are the teaching moments that you need for somebody who's in the position like Sam, who's going to be playing football probably for a very long time.
Yeah. And you go in after that game into a bye week. Mm-hmm. You have to let that sit. You're stuck with an L for 2 weeks at that point, because you got the whole week off and then you got the whole week of prep to take on Kansas. And I'll tell you what, Sam Leavitt definitely learned from his time in the mud against Texas Tech. Completed 58.3% of his passes against Kansas, not the greatest in the world. 234 total yards through the air, on the ground, and 4 touchdowns. His best, the only game this season where he's had more than 2 through 4 total touchdowns against Kansas, 1 INT. This was the game that Sam Leavitt, when his team needed him the most, last drive, found a way to find Jordan Tyson for the touchdown. And it was, I think, at that moment where you're like, this kid, like, I was getting text messages. This kid's got swag. He's got the clutch gene. Like, he is not going to stop playing until he hears either that whistle or the clock hits 0.
This might sound silly. That was a must-win for ASU.
Yeah.
Against a struggling Kansas team that had not won besides their first week against Lindenwood.
Yikes.
At home, after your first loss of the season in a bye week. That was a must-win for ASU football. That was a must-win for Sam Leavitt, and he delivered.
He did.
He stepped up to the plate, throwing 4 touchdowns. He absolutely delivered. Not just throwing 4 touchdowns. What was Kansas defense's biggest strength?
Secondary.
he took the time, he studied, he got better, he prepared, and then the moment came and he delivered way more than he had before.
4 total touchdowns.
A recipe for success. And what I'm excited for is this Saturday, hopefully he plays, right? You're not only coming off of a bye week, you're coming off of a game where you were injured and you watched your team play and struggle without you.
Not just struggle, lose.
So now you go into this game extra motivated from a bunch of different angles with an extra week of prep and watching. Sometimes, like, you know, we're in the moment and we're doing a show, right? And we're just riffing. You can't take a step back and be like, man, I should have done that instead of this. So I should be better at that. Sometimes it's like you got to go back and you got to like listen to yourself. You got to be outside of the moment. You have to listen to somebody else, you know, do a podcast or whatever job you do. Sometimes when you get taken out of the moment, it helps you be more prepared to be in the moment because you get so tunnel vision when you're there, you just don't see it from that perspective.
Yeah.
It's the 6-man argument in the NBA. Jamal Crawford loved coming off the bench. Manu Ginobili loved coming off of the bench. Why? Because they sat back, they watched the game unfold, they found how they can make their impact, and then they came in to the game off of that. Sam Leavitt's having a 6-man moment. He's having his, hey, I was on the bench, I was watching this team, I saw where I fit in, I saw my mistakes, I saw their mistakes, and I saw how to fix it.
Yeah.
Now's your chance to fix it against an Oklahoma State team that you should be able to fix that against.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you leave food in the oven too long, yes, it's going to burn, but it's also going to stay hot. And that's exactly what Sam Leavitt is. Sam Leavitt is hot right now, considering the fact that he had to sit on the sideline. He had to watch his team lose for just the second time this season. And then he had the bye week. This guy is fiery. He's passionate. He wants to get out there. And I have a hard time believing they are going to keep him off the field this week against Oklahoma State. But obviously, in between the Oklahoma State and the previous bye week, Sam Leavitt did ball out a little bit against Utah. 61.1% completion percentage, $176 total yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Did just enough to get it done for the Sun Devils. And that's where you're at. Those are the games that Sam Leavitt has played this season. Obviously, he would have loved to be out there against Cincinnati. And like I said, I have a hard time thinking that you are going to keep him off the field against Oklahoma State. Kenny said it on Monday, 60-40, 70-30. He's been cleared. Where would you put it? If you had to say yes or
70-30?
No. I mean, no, just your personal opinion.
I think he'll play. And as the expert in picking whether or not a quarterback plays or not, as shown in our Utah week leading up to the game, where I adamantly said that Cam Rising was going to attempt to play. Now, do we call what Cam Rising did playing football? That's a different question.
He tried to play football.
He definitely tried. I think he's going to play this week. However, I would say I'm a little concerned.
Here we go.
Screw you, man.
Chicken Little today.
Stop. Called Mr. Realistic here. I literally just talked about spinning a loss and a bad performance.
Mr. Realistic, come on. You can do better than that.
Can I?
Yeah.
Senior Spin Zone. I don't know if I can do as good as that.
I am a
little worried about the way that he plays football. He puts his body on the line. I don't think he's going to second guess himself. I don't think he's going to start sliding. I just think he is who he is. I'm a little bit worried about that, but I'm super excited. I think that he'll play, and I think that he'll play well. We just got to see it.
I agree. I think he'll play. I think he'll play well, and I think Arizona State has a really solid chance to go out and win that game. So we are going to take a look now at the Arizona State offense as a whole going up against that Oklahoma State defensive unit, but we are going to do it on the other side of this break. Now look, Senor Spin Zone here. He's a hat man. And when he picks his hats, he does so very carefully, with thought,
it's true,
and precision.
He's not even kidding.
And it feels like every single day he makes the right choice when he snags a branded Bills hat. Guys, they're the perfect headwear and apparel. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. So if you're looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd, maybe you have a small business, maybe you have a youth sports team, whatever it is, Branded Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear. Start your order and their dedicated team is going to help you create the exact custom apparel that you need. Guys, head to brandedbills.com and use that code PHNX for 20% off your first order.
Our friends at Circle K are truly our friends.
They're family.
Because what do friends and family do for you? They look out for you.
They do.
They make sure that you're not put in a poor situation. And the way that Circle K is looking out for you is by saving you money.
Facts.
And that's by joining their free membership reward program called the Inner Circle. Now, a little secret of mine, I was part of the Inner Circle before I even
You're in
got
my inner
to
circle.
PHNX. You're in my Inner Circle too. You know, like the old phones that
I do.
I think you'd be on there.
Oh,
I think Kyle would too.
I think Kyle.
And I don't think
too.
any of my family or friends. It would just be those two. I'd have
It
three
would
open
just
spots.
be the
just
show.
you two. Yeah, just the show.
You're so sweet. What about your wife?
No, just
No,
the show.
yeah, I got
just
you.
the show. Just kidding, in case she's watching. But seriously, Circle K is here to save you deals, not just on gas. You get 25 cents off for your first 5 fill-ups per gallon, but then you get 3 cents off per gallon every day. Bump that up to 5 cents off per gallon every day if you continue to use that, which you should. You can get deals on snacks, drinks, and everything in between. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Let's see. Is she watching today? Let's see if I got a text. I don't think so. No.
Look at you.
Just another text from...
She's a fake fan, honestly.
No, it's not true.
Not watching right
It's not
now?
true.
That's crazy.
Just because she can't stand you.
Wow.
She can't stand your voice.
That's crazy. Will in the chat, against a terrible run defense in Oklahoma State, I'm not as concerned for Leavitt. Oklahoma State is dead last in run yards per game given up in the FBS. As long as the offensive line can get their push, Leavitt won't be put in compromising situations. I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about this Oklahoma State defense, we gave you a couple names to know on yesterday's show just about who you can expect the Cowboys to roll out there. But in terms of their defensive rankings, they are one of the worst units in the Big 12. They are 16th in total yards allowed per game in the conference. Again, that is 16 out of 16. They are 14th in pass yards allowed per game. They are dead last 16th in rush yards allowed per game. And they are 15th out of 16
Is that good?
in points per game
No.
allowed. They're bad. They're
Okay.
bad. They're bad. They're bad. But if you recall, Texas Tech at the time that Arizona State played them was also really, really bad in a number of these categories. And Arizona State really struggled. How has this offense looked since then? Well, Arizona State offensively in the Big 12 is 12th in total yards per game, 14th in pass yards per game, 4th in rush yards per game, and 11th in points per game. So overall, the ASU offense hasn't been extremely productive in terms of the conference. However, on the ground, they have been a really, really dominant team thus far. It sets up beautifully for, again, what Will said in the chat. Oklahoma State is not good at stopping the run. If you go back and watch that game against Baylor, Baylor had a running back, had 6 carries, went over 100 yards and a touchdown. Mike Gundy was asked about it all Monday on his press conference about why this team was just unable to tackle. And that's what it was. If you go back and watch the game, they could not tackle. They were struggling from the start of the game to the end of the game to simply make tackles. It happened in that game. It happened against BYU with LJ Martin. This is a team that right now defensively has no answers. And again, if you go back to that BYU game, one thing you'll notice is BYU's quarterback ran all over that Oklahoma State defense. Now, I will say BYU's quarterback is their team's leading rusher. So
Yeah, he's an athlete.
he is. But overall, the last couple of weeks for Oklahoma State, it has been absolutely embarrassing. They are putting Band-Aids on bullet holes right now, and it is not going well for the Cowboys.
And you hope that ASU could take advantage of that because they absolutely have the tools to do so. And we've seen, even with ASU over this season, a couple missed tackles can mean a lot and can change the momentum of a game. And when you have the talent like a Sam Leavitt, like a Cam Skattebo, right? Tackling ain't easy.
No.
For the best tacklers in the nation, tackling Cam Skattebo is not easy.
It's one of the hardest things to do in life.
How confident are you? I know we'll get into our score predictions later this week. How confident are you that this is a team that will not give ASU any problems? Because the way that we're kind of talking about it, and I'm not saying that I disagree, it's kind of setting up this is a get right game for ASU.
This feels very much like the Kansas matchup. It felt like you needed to win a game coming off of a bye week against a team that you know is more talented than their record tells you. The only difference is you have to do it on the road, something that you've only been able to actually accomplish once this season. That is beating Texas State on the road. You've lost your other road matchups against Texas Tech. You lost your road matchup against Cincinnati. You know, Oklahoma State is better than what they've produced so far this season. Literally.
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? Is like they're supposed to be
good.
Yeah.
But they haven't been. They haven't won a Big 12 game yet this season.
No.
And Mike Gundy is a good football coach. But like we said, that defense is allowing 251 rush yards on the ground. There is only one team worst in the nation in Division I football, and that is Kent State.
Go Golden Flashes.
There you go. Everybody else,
Jaden Daniels' debut game.
They are giving up an astronomical amount of rushing yards so far this season, and that's what's contributed to the play of this team as a whole. Because if you go and you look at Oklahoma State's time of possession overall this season in terms of the Big 12, time of possession for Oklahoma State, they're 15th out of 16 teams, averaging 27 minutes and change per game. What does Arizona State love to do? Offensively, we're going to run the football
a lot,
and we're going to play keep away from you.
Yeah.
So this feeds in exactly to what Arizona State likes to do. You are fresh off a bye week. We had Cam Skattebo in office last week.
Dude was scratching his neck
chomping
ready
at
to play
the bit.
football.
And now you're telling me he gets to go play a team in Oklahoma State that couldn't tackle traffic cones if they were sitting out there?
Yeah, a renewed, refreshed Cam Skattebo.
And potentially QB1 who's had to sit on the sideline now, like just, again, chomping at the bit to get out there.
And watching film for an entire bye week, too. Sharon in the chat says, I don't think it will be an easy win. I feel like almost all the teams in the Big 12 can beat each other, but I think we should win. We have to show we can play our best on the road, though.
Yeah, and that's what they've struggled to do. They've struggled on the road. They struggled early against Texas State. We're down 21-7. They blinked and they were down 14-0 against Tech. Quickly, they couldn't get anything going against Cincinnati. Poor, maybe aggression choices in terms of coach play calling.
Maybe.
At that point, right? And you ultimately, down the stretch, unable to win that one. Kenny said it on Monday. This team is, for some reason, early on the road, emotional swings really don't play well for Arizona State, or they haven't recently against Cincinnati and Tech. So I think what you have to do against Oklahoma State offensively is you have to do exactly what you did against Mississippi State. I think you run the football as a team 35, 40 times against Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 2, 3, 4 yards. Eventually that is going to wear on a team that knows how bad they tackle. Right? Gundy said it all Monday.
And eventually you're going to, like, even if they're making tackles, if they're making tackles, if you continue to force them to make them over and over and over again, then they're going to eventually mess up.
And it's going to open the play action. It's going to open the play action pass for Leavitt. Again, the throws are going to be there. Oklahoma State, again, you watch the last two games. Up front, traditional four-man front, 2 linebackers, 5 in the secondary. They don't get a lot of initial pressure. So if Arizona State's offensive line can hold up, then Sam Leavitt should have a decent amount of time. When they do get pressure, they're lazy in their rush lanes, which, what did we say a couple weeks ago, opens up the Red Sea for a quarterback to just take off. That's Sam Leavitt's specialty. Just, Sam, do me a favor. Slide. Okay, slide. That's what we're going to do. He's
not going to do it.
I don't want to get overconfident, overzealous here, but I just think that this is a team in Arizona State that their strengths match up literally beautifully to what Oklahoma State does really, really poorly.
Yeah.
Not just really, really poorly, but worse than 100-something teams in college football.
Yeah, no, the on paper matchup right now is very heavily in favor of ASU. That's why they are the betting favorites right now, even though they haven't won a game on the road. It's taking away those uncontrollables. Again, it's Oklahoma State's homecoming game. It's a team that has the talent to rip off an incredible offensive game at any time. I mean, Brendan Presley and Ollie Gordon are 2 of the best skill position players, despite even the stats they've been putting up in the Big 12.
I mean, Presley's been a monster.
Right. I'm talking more about Ollie Gordon, right? But Ollie Gordon still has that potential. Ollie Gordon can still be that guy. Yeah. I don't think that Ollie Gordon forgot how to play football.
No, absolutely not.
I think it's more of a set of circumstances that are hurting Ollie Gordon rather than Ollie Gordon just not being good. So you take all those things into account and you say, well, ASU should win. I would and will pick them to win. But what are the certain things that can get in their way? Not healthy Sam Leavitt. You saw a Cincinnati team whose run defense was not good.
Yeah.
Have a really good run defense against ASU when they played. Right? Like this offensive line sometimes you get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Right? Are you playing at your best on the road in what's going to be a loud, rowdy environment? And there's somebody in the chat earlier, it might even rain. Right? Which is, again, just not something else.
It's going to be a gross football game.
It's going to be a gross football game.
I'm going to be honest. I think this is going to be one of the quicker football games that Arizona State has
lots
played
of
this
running.
season. I think so. I mean, if it's
Are
raining,
you manifesting it?
I am manifesting it 100%. I think you are going to see 35 carries on the ground for both these running backs.
Yeah.
It's going to be raining. This game is going to go by in an hour and a half. Like, we are just running
to the football gods.
Running the football. Halftime, and then we're gonna run some more.
So that's the thing. Dallas in the chat, Dallas is the one who mentioned the rain. Thanks for joining us, Dallas. Said Arroyo's play calling is so questionable. Not that I necessarily fully agree with that, but I do think that there are a lot of times where it's like, hey man, the obvious choice here is to give the ball to Cam Skattebo is to run it, and they like to do something a little bit crazier. Are you worried about ASU getting a little bit too cute with such an obvious game plan, like you're saying that should be the case?
No, I don't think so. I think again, this team in the losses, especially on the road, they've realized that they need to keep it simple. And in terms of the aggression, like you got to set yourself up nice on third down. This is a team in Oklahoma State that doesn't have the best third down defense, but they do have a really good red zone defense. What has Arizona State done really poorly this season? Scoring touchdowns in the red zone, which is something that you can't do. You can't afford to have happen when you're on the road, especially when weather comes into it. You got to be able to capitalize with 6 points. I think you are going to see a healthy dose of Cam Skattebo. Shocker. I think you're going to see probably the biggest dose of Kyson Brown that you've seen since the season started. And I think that is going to be what separates Arizona State in this one. Obviously, we got a lot to discuss all week long about this matchup. We're going to talk about that Oklahoma State offense going up against that Arizona State defense on Wednesday's show. But overall, I think you don't need to take this one too ridiculous. This isn't a team in Utah that is super overly physical. When Oklahoma State wins football games, how do they win football games? Well, they turn and hand it to Ollie Gordon, or they throw it to Brendan Presley. Defensively, they don't do anything to win football games. They haven't won games this year because their defense has been good. Like Arizona State.
Well, they just haven't won games this year.
Arizona State has won games strictly because they've been able to run the football. Go look at the Mississippi State game. Go look at the Kansas game.
And there's something to be said about, and I know it's a very basic way to put it, but it's true. There are certain teams that know how to win games, and there are certain teams that don't.
That's facts.
ASU last year was a team that didn't know how to win games. Despite everything that was pitted against them, they still didn't know how to pull it out and win. Oklahoma State this year is not a team that knows how to win games. Okay? I believe they have 5 straight losses right now. All Big 12 teams, Utah, Kansas State,
they haven't
West
won
Virginia,
a conference
BYU,
game.
Baylor. Tough teams, tough games, for sure.
Look how many points they gave up in all those
38,
games.
38, 38, 42, 22. Yeah.
You get points.
And by the way, letting Utah score 22 points, pretty big deal.
Yeah, Utah just lost to Houston.
Pretty big deal coming from a team that allowed 19 points.
You know what would frighten me if I'm an Oklahoma State fan?
What?
Cam Skattebo after practice today said, quote, "People have asked what I've circled on the schedule the whole year, and this is the one."
Uh-oh.
Well, look. They've played Oklahoma State. This is now the 3rd year in a row.
Yeah.
They've played them.
Uh-oh. I looked at the game last year. Cam Skattebo only had like 60 yards against Oklahoma State.
I don't think that's going to be the
You're
case.
You're going to smash the over on that one?
Yeah. I would say if you had to set a line, and it's not legal in this state, if you had to set a line for rush yards.
A player prop?
Just Cam Skattebo. Just rush yards. Let me know in the chat what you'd set it at, too. I'm curious. Captain Redbeard, you get in on this, too.
97.5.
Oh, I'm hammering the over. Hammering the over on 97. Are you kidding me? What do you think, Captain?
120.
I'm hitting the over on that, too.
I think that he could definitely get 120, but if you're asking...
They give up 200 rush yards a game.
Yeah.
On average.
Fine, 98.5.
Dude. Like, it's like, I don't think you realize how bad. Desert Stro in the chat, over under 123.5. I'm taking the over. Like,
how many rushing yards? How many rushing yards do you think he gets?
$157.
$157.
3 touchdowns.
I'm not going to bet against you because I'm never going to root against Cam Skattebo. It's a lot of yards.
Will in the chat, over under $135.5.
You know what I feel like is going to happen a lot? Screen passes. I think Cam's going to have more receptions this game than people think.
Okay, set the over under.
Receiving yards?
No, receptions.
Just receptions?
Yeah, let's get gross. 4.5.
I was going to say 5.5.
Oh, under. That's a lot of receptions. That's a lot of receptions for a running back in the rain. I'm taking the under on that.
I feel like they're going to try to get cute.
That's fine. So you think they lose?
No.
I think if they get cute, they lose.
Well, I mean, not like that cute. Not like don't let Cam Skattebo touch the ball.
Like puppy cute?
Like, oh, it's cute.
Oh, so not a puppy.
No, not like, oh, cute. No, like, oh, it's cute.
What's that kind of cute?
I don't know.
Kyle, do you know?
I don't know.
Erik? I feel like creative. Wow, he said Erik.
I can't tell if that's an insult or a compliment. I'm being dead.
You said it.
I'm being
the way
dead
you
serious.
said it was. That's cute.
Yeah.
It's a compliment.
That's
I don't know if it is. Kyle, you're hurting my feelings this week, man.
What did he do?
He went on a little adventure without me.
Yeah, but his buddy was here.
Yeah, but he literally said, he's like, yeah, I even thought about asking you to come and then I didn't do it. He said that to me.
After the fact.
I mean, yeah, maybe he just didn't want to hang out with you.
I know, it's fine.
Will in the chat, seal cute. No, seals are adorable,
Yeah,
dude.
seals are adorable.
Those are the puppies of the ocean.
Way to save the topic from Kyle.
Yeah.
That's a good
Desert
good
Stro in the chat. Scat's going to end with 200 all-purpose yards.
I agree. I agree with 200 plus all-purpose. I do. I agree.
Any wide receivers have a big game?
No.
No? Oklahoma State's secondary is buns too.
Define big game. We're talking 100. We're talking 100 plus.
Yeah,
no.
100 plus. No. You're a fraud.
Shimon Matire, 250 all-purpose yards. He's going to get a couple
Shimon
handoffs.
Matire goes for 250 plus. What are we doing?
Is this the Rhino package
this might
game?
Be this. No.
10 touchdowns for Rhino?
No.
Could you imagine? You had to get your little baby Rhino tattoo?
There's no way he's getting 10 touchdowns. If he got 10 touchdowns, I would get a giant Rhino all over my chest at this point in the season.
That's on record.
The leading touchdown scorer for Arizona State is Cam Skattebo with 9, I believe.
You never know.
Marcus and Douglas would need 10 in a span of 5 games.
Just 2 a game.
Yeah. I've barely seen him on the field.
Just
it's not happening.
Just
it's not happening. Look, we're going to hear from Oklahoma State coach Mike Gundy.
Speaking of crazy.
On what he has to say about Scat and the Sun Devils. But that's coming up on the other side of this break.
I love flooring.
You love flooring?
Love flooring. Where would we be without flooring?
You ever do a good floor lay?
Oh,
yeah.
I love a good floor lay. But not if the floor is not adequate. Not if the floor is not up to par. You don't want to do a floor lay on a dirty floor.
No, absolutely not. Or a hard floor? No.
Sometimes a hard floor hits.
Sometimes. It really depends on the day of the week, though.
It doesn't depend if you have Empire Today flooring, because that is the perfect flooring for a floor lay. Or if you're a perfectly normal person and you just want to get new floors for, let's say, your house, for your apartment building, for your business, Empire Today is here to help you out. Easy, quick, and convenient, or easy, quick, and convenient ways to describe them, but they also are here to make sure that you get the right flooring. And they're not going to promise you the lowest price, because then they'd be ripping you off. They'd be putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. But they do have a virtual floor visualizer, so you can see exactly what that floor looks like before you put it in. And right now, all PHNX Sun Devils listeners can receive $350 off when they use promo code PHNX. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. Some restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for details.
You know how you said you were really butthurt that Kyle didn't invite you for an adventure?
Yes.
I think
I do remember.
I've got a way that Kyle can make it up to you.
Tell me, because I doubt it.
I think you guys should go to the PHNX Trivia Night at Chicken and Pickle on November 7th at 6:30.
What do you say, Kyle? You going to pick me up?
Yeah.
See? At 6:30, guys, register your team of up to 4 people for free. PHNX and Chicken and Pickle prizes for the top teams. You can register at gophnx.com/events. That's not all we have. The All-City Desert Duel Golf Tournament is November 2nd at the Ravens. Also, our friends from CHGO are going to be in town as the Cardinals host the Bears, and diehards from both markets are going to be in attendance. Again, head over to gophnx.com/events to check out all the amazing and fun events that we have going on over the next few weeks.
Sharon says, give yourself a few more years. No more floor lays.
No, I feel like you could still do floor lays at that point, but it's just you're laying for a lot longer than you like.
There's going to be a day where you lay on the floor
For the last time.
and you can't get back up.
Mine was far darker than yours.
That's deep.
Yeah. You said that you're not going to get back up?
Yeah. Because you're just stuck.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking more. It's just the last time you're on the floor. You know, did you ever think about that?
The ultimate floor
There's
lay.
literally going to be a last time that you do everything.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Are you want to get deep? Are you scared of death?
No, I'm not scared of death.
All right, let's listen to Mike Gundy.
It all happens. You want to listen to Gundy? Go straight from that into Gundy?
That seems like the perfect transition into
Well,
Gundy.
look, we talked a lot about what Cam Skattebo is going to be doing on Saturday. It involves babysitting the Oklahoma State defense. This is what Oklahoma State coach Mike Gundy had to say about Quattro.
Yeah, well, he's their energy, right? He guy plays hard. He breaks tackles. He gets up, tells you to bring it on. He likes it. They feed off of him. He's the guy that they, in my opinion, I'm an outsider. They feed off of his energy, and he's very well could be the best back we've played. And I mean, I don't know, but he's a good back. They feed off him, and so if you want to slow them down, in my opinion, you better tackle him.
Sometimes I laugh at coach talk. And he said like
Not Gundy, though.
He just said the same thing like 5 times in 15 seconds.
I love the fact that he acknowledged this could be the best back they play.
Yeah, I real ball knowers know. Your
Gundy
favorite
is
running
a
back's
real
favorite
ball
running
knower.
back. One of the, if not the Big 12's best. Better than Ollie Gordon. Wonder if Gundy would say that.
Probably
I'm
not.
not sure. But I also think pointing out the fact that they feed off of him as well is really massive. And hopefully there's like that extra boost from Sam Leavitt returning, and then Cam Skattebo gets 300 all-purpose, and this team is just
300 all-purpose.
firing.
300 all-purpose, and you set his line at 97?
He's going to have a $150 receiving.
Yeah, you're talking about a crazy game.
I
the
really
air.
wish that we could look at individual lines.
I'm sure.
wish.
I don't know. No, I agree. Right. I think the level of energy that Scat brings to the offense, he can do that on a 6-yard run. He doesn't have to do it with a crazy touchdown or a 40 yards like scamper. Like what he does is he lowers his shoulder. He sends dudes to the shadow realm and gets back up, looks you in the face, and says, "I'll see you next play." Like that would fire me up. Short Bus in the chat, he thinks he can slow Scat down. That's precious. You can't.
No, you can't.
It doesn't matter who you are, what defense you have in the Big 12. There hasn't been one yet that you can say probably for sure that totally took Scat out of the game.
The only thing that could stop Scat's the ultimate floor lay, and that's it. Nothing else is taking Cam Skattebo down.
That's fair. Zach in the chat, $250 for Leavitt and $150 for Scat.
Feed me more. I want it. Get that away from
I was
my
feeding
face.
you more,
I'll
dude.
bite your finger off.
Okay, let's calm down. Let's calm down on that
Someone's gonna
front.
clip that.
Look, you mentioned earlier the last time Scat played Oklahoma State wasn't the greatest game for Scat, wasn't the greatest game for the Sun Devils, but that was, of course, in year 1 for Kenny Dillingham at the helm for your Arizona State Sun Devils. Year 2 has looked mightily different than what year 1 in Tempe looked like for Dilly. Obviously, we all know that, but Mike Gundy acknowledged it on Monday.
They have good players, and they're in a very marketable geographical location in the country for portals, which they've hit that market hard, and they've had success in that area, and they've done a good job. The back is a tough guy, and defensively, the coordinators come in. He was a Nevada guy and Washington State guy, and then he was originally from that area, the Glendale area, and so they got him back there, and he's done a nice job with their defense. They run a very similar style to what most of those teams have been doing in the Pac, whatever conference that's not there anymore. That league, that he runs that very similar style of defense, and they're doing a good job with it. You can see the improvement in year 2 with their team.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
Yes, you can see the improvement in year 2. Obviously, Brian Ward, I love him acknowledging what he's been able to do for the defense. Talked to somebody yesterday out at availability that is just like, you're going to need to pay your coordinators. You're probably going to need to pay Brian Ward again based off of the way that this defense has performed thus far this season. You've seen it in year 2, the development from a culture standpoint, from a defense standpoint, from a scat standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, from a buy-in from the fan base. Like everything about Arizona State in year 2 under Dillingham is night and day versus what you saw last year in Tempe. And I know that we're still got about 5 games left in the season, but it should make you excited about what year 3 has in store.
Oh, 365 days from now, the road to the Natty.
365, dude, that's gonna come so fast.
Is it?
I think so.
I feel like it's going to be a slog for a couple of months, and then
June and July always are.
we're going to have fun this year. We had fun.
I mean, we still have so much foosball left, dude.
Yes, foosball and then the basketball as well. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'll be a lot more fine if Arizona State gets this done. Finds a way to win this game.
Yeah, if ASU wins this game, then you're looking at a 6-2 football team that's bowl eligible 8 games into the season.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
There were some people who said their absolute ceiling, if everything went completely right for the entire season, was 6 wins.
Not ball knowers.
I'm pretty sure we said that. I'm pretty sure we said like 6 or 7.
Yeah, maybe. I have to go back and review the tape.
Do we not know ball?
You have to go back and review the tape. I don't recall.
Hey, speaking of tape, did you?
Real quick, guys, if you're in here, I want to tell you right now, I know where you're going. We're putting a pin in it.
Oh, I'm not putting a pin in anything.
Show up on Friday. On Friday, we got a big announcement. Big announcement. You know what the announcement is.
I am aware of the announcement.
What would you rate that announcement out of 10?
2,000?
2,000? What would you say, Captain Redbeard?
4,000.
4,000.
He just doubled me.
He
That's
doubled
crazy.
you up. That is crazy. Definitely going to want to be here on Friday for the live show at 1:30. Just fun stuff. Fun stuff on the horizon here for PHNX Sun Devils specifically. I'm just going to leave you with that. Also, go check out the newsletter, okay? Go phnx.com/newsletter. Daily content headed straight to your email every single day. It is free to sign up. Absolutely free to sign up. And what are you going to get with that newsletter from our friend Pat Brown?
Actual real life writing, not AI, not an amalgamation of links.
We need to come up with a new word. You say amalgamation a lot.
Amalgamation, that's the only time in my entire life that I've ever used the word amalgamation.
And you use it every day.
Yes. It's a great word.
You don't even say your own name every day.
That's true, I don't.
But you say amalgamation.
Actually, the first thing I
Can
say
you
when I
spell
wake up.
amalgamate? Wow. Can you spell? I can't say it now. Amalgamation. Can you spell it? Wait. Let me look. Finish telling people what's in the newsletter first.
Actual writing from the wonderful Patrick Brown, who will keep you up to date every single day on what's going on in Arizona sports. He will then send you to other things on our website. There will be links there, but not an amalgamation of them.
See, culmination. You could use that word.
No, a culmination of links doesn't work. Culmination is like, no, it doesn't work.
Okay, spell amalgamation.
Amalgamation. A-M-A. Am I correct so far?
Yeah. You get 3 letters.
Amalgamation.
Yeah.
Amalgamation.
Wow. Nailed it. Great job there, bud.
Can I get the root? The
Amal.
Can you use it in a sentence for me?
Just the root?
No, the word.
The whole world?
Yeah.
The whole word. Yeah. PHNX
Daily is not an
amalgamation of links.
All right, I'll pull out the thesaurus for next time.
That's all I can ask.
Check out PHNX Daily. Okay, so here's the thing. You are such a wonderful person and so tapped in and
he's
exactly what
he's hijacking.
Exactly what
he's
the people,
hijacking this.
Stop. Let me give you your flowers. Okay, I know that you don't like to talk about yourself, but you are so wonderful and you promise the people some of the most intricate, in-depth analysis and content that college football has. And one of the things I thought was really awesome of you to promise everybody yesterday was that you were going to go back and find every single pick from Alan Bowman so far this season and discuss, how important they were, the exact timing of what was going on, how it shifted the momentum of those games. And I figured with the last 5 minutes of this show, you could share that with the class.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
just
I'll tell
wondering
you
if
about
you
some of
fall
the
through
ones
on
that
your
I saw
promise.
this morning. Some of the ones that I saw this
Some?
morning. Yeah, some.
You
We're just going to
promised
get into
all
the
of them.
specifics. You said how intricate we
so
get.
you'll have all 10 win.
I mean, we'll see when we get to it. You know,
So
we'll
you-
see
but
if
you
it
will
comes
have it
up.
this week.
Potentially.
But-
I'm not
so
somebody
you're
that
going
likes to
back
make
on your
false
promise.
promises. I don't think I promised
I'm
anything.
pretty sure you did.
I don't think I did. I think you promised for me,
Do
which
I
I
not
don't think
speak for
is
you?
the same. No, absolutely
No,
not.
I don't.
No, you don't. You do not speak for me. But some of the ones that I watched a little bit earlier, he had one against Baylor at the tail end of the game where they were just trying to come back. Literally, I believe like a minute left in the game, and he just heaved it. It was an awful throw, left side of the field. The wide receiver, he underthrew the wide receiver. Bowman took a hit. You can't really like that one adds up in the stat sheet, but like it was him trying to make a play down the stretch. He had another one against BYU. He came in. He was actually benched in that BYU game to start, and then the quarterback that had come in actually got hurt on a
Not
scramble.
Gunnar Gundy.
Not Gunnar Gundy. I don't believe Gunnar Gundy is there anymore.
No, I think he left. I think he transferred.
Regal or something was the backup for Oklahoma State.
Not Charlie.
So then Bowman comes in. He does throw an interception in that game. That one was more of a back and forth. It obviously cost his team down the stretch as an extra possession that you give up. But ultimately, Oklahoma State's defense is the reason why they lost to BYU on that front. So
Close game.
those are just a couple of the interceptions that we've seen to this point. You know, I know you promised the people that I was going to watch all of them.
I didn't promise anything.
You did. You did promise. I did not make that promise. Will in the chat, Eric's the Lorax and speaks for the trees.
Are you
New
a tree?
nickname just dropped.
I'm the Lorax. I like the
The
Lorax.
Lorax.
I mess with the Lorax. I think
You
that's
mess
sick.
with the Lorax?
Yeah, I think the Lorax is sick.
How many nicknames do we got for you?
Dude, it's like it's in the 30s, maybe 40s.
Oh, you do have a ton.
We should write them all down and then at some point do a snake draft
for him.
of all the nicknames.
I think we can hit that
I think so
at
too.
some point.
By the way, Garrett Rangel
There he is.
was
I think he got
69 for 51 yards, a touchdown, and an interception.
He also was scrambling a lot too.
Brendan Presley, 1 for 1, 16 yards and a touchdown. Is he the best quarterback?
Brendan Presley is a dog.
Brendan Presley is a dog.
He's fast. How many receptions? Can you look up for me real quick? I know we're going to talk
Just went
about.
off the page.
We're going to talk
bro.
about Presley and Ollie Gordon tomorrow.
He has not the most receiving yards on the team. That's Deshaun Stribling. Brad Presley has 56 receptions, though, for 563 yards. Deshaun Stribling has 31 receptions for 571 yards.
What's he averaging per catch?
He is averaging 18.4. Brendan Presley is averaging 10.1.
18 yards per catch?
Yeah, Rashad Owens is 15.5. Talon Shetron has 12 receptions, and he's averaging 20 yards a reception. Dwayne Lofton has 6 receptions and is averaging 23.
That's good. I don't care about the rest.
Jake Schultz, their fullback, is 2 for 68. Long is
Jeez.
63.
Zachary Watson in the chat. BYU's drive to end the game against Oak State was crazy. It showed how bad Oak State's defense is. Yeah, it is crazy. They had a chance to win that game. All they had to do was get off the field on a 4th and 8. They couldn't capitalize on another 2nd down. They let BYU's quarterback scramble for, I believe, a 20-yard run. And then they set BYU up perfectly with 10 seconds left in the game to put the game away with a nice throw and an even better play after the catch. Like, Oklahoma State's defense, like we said, is not very good in the grand scheme of things, and it should set up Arizona State nicely, especially if you get Sam Leavitt back. It's only going to help your Arizona State Sun Devils.
You know who your next deep dive needs to be?
Tell me.
Oklahoma State's most secret weapon. Io or Ao Shotomide King. Yeah, that's right. 2 receptions for 21 yards.
That's a hell of a name.
It's a hell of a name.
This has been a hell of an episode, guys. That is going to do it for
Wonky.
today's episode of the PHNX Sun Devils Show. Do us a solid.
Please.
Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review. And we're going to see you on Friday because you're going to be here for the amazing news that we have for you. If you enjoyed the content, give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You could follow this guy, the Lorax here, at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K.
Can I get ahead of something?
You can get ahead of something.
I will not be on tomorrow's show.
Oh, yeah. Jose Perez going out of town.
No. Not going out of town. Just worked like 21 straight days. And so gonna
grind.
Gonna try.
This
and
is
take
the
a little time.
grind. This is Ruby. He is running from it.
How many days straight have you worked?
What's today? Tuesday? 3, 4?
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm older than you. I've done my time.
Oh, okay.
I've done my time. Dude. You should have
Okay.
seen the weeks that I was working in local TV. It was horrendous. Horrendous.
We're gonna have a grind off. Wait.
You can follow Captain Redbeard at KCoop Sports. We'll see you tomorrow. As always, go Devils in peace.
We all silly like the mayor.